Okay, so thank you for watching this recording of this evening. This webinar this evening is based around Year 1. It's really nice because we're joined by Anne-Marie Timmins, who is a Year 1 teacher from Mowmacre Primary School. And tonight, Anne-Marie is going to talk to us about how she's using tech in Year 1 with her class. She's focusing on Sway, QR codes and Tapestry, and maybe a couple of other bits as well. So it's really nice that we've got this input this evening. So please feel free to ask questions if you want to at any point throughout this evening. And I'm sure, Anne-Marie, if there are any questions or people remember the questions afterwards, they're more than it's absolutely fine for them to contact you, by email.
Yeah,
great,
I've got my details on as well, so if they do want to contact us, absolutely fine.
Great, that's fantastic, thank you. I'm just going to start with a question, if that's all right, Anne-Marie. I'm just going to ask you what the pupils in your class now think about the technology now you've been obviously using it for a whole year. Because I say that because obviously in Year 1 they are coming in, and it is new each time, isn't it? It's pretty much, I know obviously you do little bits in EYFS as well at Mowmacre with digital and technology, but I think when they come into Year 1 it really is, they've got their hands on those, you know, the laptops and the iPads. And how are they finding that?
Absolutely. So I think, as you said, they do have a bit of a dabble in EYFS, but when we come to Year 1, we use it as a learning tool. We use technology in most of our lessons now. The children have really embraced it, and it's fantastic to see how advanced they've become so far. Even with myself, I think, wow, they're 5 and look how amazing and what they can do. It's really helped them academically, it's helped them emotionally. The way that they feel about using technology is brilliant. They've got that such sense of pride in themselves, and it's great to see. I've seen them share, and I'll show you this, share this with you later as well, how they've shared with their parents how they use technology, and parents are just blown away of what their children are capable of. It's so lovely to see. It's really taken particularly like the maths lessons to the next level, the way we're using topic and presenting the work. It's just so nice to have such a different way to see that I've ever taught before. So normally it's been a very traditional method of using books, but now we've come such a long way, and the difference within their learning is amazing.
How do you think, how long do you think it sort of takes them to, you know, get used to logging in, get used to that I suppose that initial pain barrier? What would you say?
So I think the first autumn one was more learning how to use the technology. It was more playing around with it, you know, understanding that we can't break it, that it's okay when we don't understand how to do things. Quite a few tears at times from me and the children. But now they've spent that time learning the processes of how to use it. They do it automatically. It's just like picking up a pencil to them now. They log in independently, from my highest achievers right down to children with maybe SEND needs. It's amazing how we're using technology now to support everybody. It's really made my classroom even more inclusive than ever.
And you're right, it's now seeing it is that tool in the classroom, isn't it? It's not, I think sometimes there's the fear that it might be the distraction, but actually it is a really strong tool, isn't it? Just like you say, as the workbook, as the pencil are those crucial tools in the classroom, so is the device now, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, before I was thinking, how is this going to help the children? We're going to waste so much time learning how to use it. Are we going to use it? Are we just shoehorning it in? But I can absolutely tell you now that we're not. It is not shoehorned in. It was used as a tool. It's amazing the difference that it's made. And I think everybody enjoys using it. The behaviour in my classroom as well, it's really brought any behaviour issues down. The children are excited about learning. They want to use it. It's just brilliant to see.
That's great. And would you say it has made a real impact on the learning? You know, it's very, I think sometimes, you know, so I think some people who possibly aren't using it yet, do sometimes think, well, maybe it's just a, you know, this nice shiny new piece of tech that's in the classroom, but is it really making an impact on the data, on the, you know, on the progress of the children's learning? What would you say?
Absolutely. So myself, I did this actually at Easter. I had a look at my data from autumn 2 to spring 2, and the levels have just gone right up. And I do believe that's down to the technology and how we're using it now within the classroom. The opportunities that the children have got to use different methods, different ways that suits them. I wouldn't say to a child, right, we're using Flipgrid to do this lesson. If they prefer to use something else, great, they're happy to do that. Then they've got the opportunity to learn that way. For example, for Flipgrid, they can record themselves, then play it back. So if it's even a simple sentence, they've got that opportunity to play it back to themselves. Some of them really enjoy using the sway. So instead of doing a presentation written by hand, they do it on the sway instead. And I think it's giving them opportunities that they feel mature enough to use it and feel like they've got the freedom to as well. So I've seen such a difference in the maturity in my classroom. The data is really reflected really well. And I've just now, I can't see a way of going back. And I think I'm the first person to say it absolutely petrified me to use it. And I think if you just dive straight in and have a go, just one thing at a time, you will see the difference and the impact. And it's almost that you want to bring more in. And the more you see the children wanting to do more, you want to give more. So it's just been a process this year of just trial and error and seeing what works. And it's just brilliant to see what we can offer the children now.
And I think that's really crucial, isn't it? That bit where you're absolutely right. You at that young age, you're still giving the children the ownership and just allowing them to still personalise parts of their learning, and how that's really changed their, or changed the structure in your classroom in terms of behaviour too. Which, yeah, just fantastic. So I will stop asking questions and I will let you get on and present now, because I'm looking forward to hearing what you've got to say. So thanks, Anne-Marie.
Yeah, no problem.
Lovely.
Just bear with me a second. Okay. Can you see that, Joe? Is it coming up okay on the PowerPoint?
I've just got the first. Yes, it's a little bit slow, but it's coming up. Yeah, I can see the first. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so today we are looking at Tapestry, Sway, and the Pupil voice. So there's lots of things that I'm going to be sharing with you. So some of the aims from today are to share examples of independent learning using the child's account on Tapestry, to explain how QR codes can enable children to create independent learning reflections on Tapestry. Also to listen to the pupil explain how they use the digital tools, to understand how pupils can use Sway for showcasing their learning, and also to explain how to teach the pupils to use Sway. So there is quite a variety of different things that I'll be sharing with you, but I'm hoping that it's all okay and makes sense. So as you can see here, these are some of the examples of our children using Tapestry independently. So it gives the children opportunity to share their work with staff and parents and also their peers. It's a virtual wow wall. It's great to see. So sometimes I know previously in the past we've had a wall that we've put work on that the children are proud of. But sometimes I don't know if it becomes a bit like wallpaper, whereas this is constant in the moment, where the children at any opportunity can pick up their iPads and put their work onto Tapestry for us all to see. It's a great way to evidence children's learning as well, so particularly in practical lessons, and it allows all children to feel successful. So it really promotes their learning. So as you can see over here, this is more of our autumn one. We're just learning how to use Tapestry, how to log in. We did it by taking photos of ourselves and just popping those on. we're now moving forward to children. So for example, when they've done work on whiteboards, they're able to upload that. So it's always being saved rather than having to look after the whiteboard, then photocopy it. So they've got that hard copy. They've always got that copy to look back on. Also, as well, I've found in lessons, sometimes if we're referring back to work they've done previously, they can always go back onto the Tapestry and have a look at their previous work rather than trying to flip through pages in books. And sometimes the work might not be in there because it might be in an older book, whereas this, it's quite easy and straightforward just to scroll through.
Anne-Marie, sorry, I'm interrupting because that's great what you've just said, but could you just clarify that this is obviously not Tapestry as people would probably be using it in EYFS, but it's the child account? Could you just
Sorry.
Is that all right?
Sorry.
No, I've also, I was just sitting there thinking, oh, I'm assuming that everyone knows, but people might not know when they're watching this. Is that okay? Thank you.
No, that's absolutely fine. So at the beginning of the year, we set up children's own accounts. So every child has their own account with their own password to log into. That's only for those to see. When you go log into the teacher's Tapestry account, I can see all of the children's work and it all comes through the same way. I can then give permission for it to be passed on to allow parents to see it as well. And also they can log into this at home if they do a really good piece of work, such as homework, and they want to upload it that way. They've got the opportunity to do that. I'm just going to show you, so you can see here, this is one that one of my children did previously, and she's uploaded it of her writing, and she looked back at it afterwards and said, well, I can do better than that. So she then took a photo of it so she could see what she'd done previously and how she could then do it again, but better for herself. And it was so wonderful to see what she was able to produce afterwards. And then she made this into a sway instead.
That's great. That's a really good way of reflecting, isn't it? That self-reflection.
Yeah, I'm just going to move on to the next page, and then I can show you, how we allow the children to get onto Tapestry. So around my classroom, I've posters, which is exactly like this, displayed everywhere for the children to use the QR code. And what they do is they hover over the QR code and it takes them straight to their Tapestry link. Inside every child's iPad is all of their passwords, anything they need to help them log in. And it's great for them to be able to log in independently and to give the children to feel a sense of ownership and purpose. It's a great incentive to keep the children on task and to take pride in the work, which is what I showed you with the child with the fact file on the last slide. And it's a great way for children to celebrate their learning in their own way. So some children that might be really shy and don't want to go around showing, look what I've done. We found that children will quite happily take their iPad, take a photo, and then they know we can acknowledge it, because then we can either comment on it on Tapestry, or then we can take them to one side and say, you know, we've seen your work, it's really good, it's amazing. Because not all children want that in the moment praise, and we know that all children prefer praise in different ways. So it's just another opportunity to children to feel that they're being valued and understood.
Yeah, it is. It's a great way of doing it, isn't it? And as you say, they can refer back to it. It's that referring back to it, and also parents being able to sort of see what they're doing as well. Another way of communicating, I think, as you mentioned on that previous slide.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really nice to have that whole circle of the child, of us, and bringing the parents in, you know, working together collaboratively. Also, it allows them to see on a regular basis of what the child's doing, how they're doing, and it also gives the child reflection of how they think they're doing, which is obviously more important than anything. And it's so lovely to see that they're so engaged when they're doing this, and the confidence to do it as well, that they don't need to be prompted or say, oh, do you need to put that on Tapestry? They just do it as and when they feel appropriate. And I think that's really nice to give them that opportunity to have that self-reflection, to think, actually, I'm really proud of this. This is going onto my Tapestry account. And I just think it's a great way for them to take pride in their work.
And also, I suppose with the parents, they've got another audience, haven't they? And an audience they really, really want to not please in a, in the way that I'm probably saying it, but you know what I mean? It's an audience they want to do their best for. That's it. They really will strive to do their best piece of work if they know their parents are going to see this as well.
Yeah, because I think previously it's more again of like with having to photocopy work. So if a child says, oh, I'd really like my parents to see this, we'd have to either photocopy it and send it home, or maybe even wait till parents' evening. That could be months away. So this is a more in the moment where it can happen at any opportunity. It doesn't add to teachers' workload because the child's doing it themselves, and it's just another opportunity to share with them in the moment. And it also, I think the parents like to know what's happening in school and how they can support more further at home, for instance. And I'm a great believer that this is really supporting children feel that I can do my best. I am doing my best. And I think that's really nice for them to feel.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Thanks, Anne-Marie.
Okay. What I would like to share with you now is, so I've told you that they can do it, but I think it's always nice to see how pupils actually do use it in the classroom. So I've got two demonstrations. I've got a demonstration of one of my pupils using Sway, and I've got another one of another pupil using Tapestry. I've put the QR codes there because the videos are quite long. So one's, I think, is about 3 or 4 minutes and one's about 5 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I might show a snippet of each one now, but the full videos are available to be shown using the QR codes. So if I just change my screen and then I can show you. So this is one of my pupils using Tapestry. She was very excited to be demonstrating. So you can see all the children are there, then they have to find their name before they get their password.
Anne-Marie, I don't think we can see your video coming through. I can still see your PowerPoint, not the video.
Really
Sorry.
Sorry, let me just try and do it again. Try again.
It sometimes does that with the...
Can you see it now?
Yes, it looks like it's just coming through.
Brilliant. So what I'll do is I'll start it from the beginning. So when she's saying a number, she means that she's actually adding in her password, and you can change the password to suit you.
Could you talk over it, Anne-Marie, because there's no sound coming through?
Fine.
Is that right?
So she's just found a name, and then she's added a password in. The passwords can be put into a number form. It could be a 2-digit number, 4-digit number, depending on their age and what's easiest for them. We use a 2-digit number at the moment. As you can see, she's currently found a piece of work that she likes. She's writing in her title at the moment. So she's been doing some writing all about endangered animals. So she's just writing her title at the moment. And as you can see, she's scrolling down and she's showing you now how to add pictures.
And really, really fluid, isn't she? Very confident.
Absolutely. So she also knows how to save the work. And then what we do afterwards is she's not actually added a comment. So we sometimes, when we can add a written reflection as well. So what she's going back to do now is going back to write a reflection of how to write, what she's been doing, what it's about. Sometimes they add if they really enjoyed the lesson, and I think getting that pupil's voice in is really important. And then sometimes we can then add that into our planning in the future as well. So at the moment she's thinking about the animals and thinking about what comment that she could put.
Really, it's I was just thinking as well, really great that she's happy to type too, because I think I've obviously seen Tapestry being used for reflections in Year 1 as well at other schools, but they've been using the video element rather than the typing aspect. So it's really nice to see that side of it.
It is. Well, the children have the opportunity to do either or. My children do sometimes use the microphone to talk into it, but then again sometimes they prefer to write in it as well. So what I can do now is I will show you a video of when they've used Sway. Just see if I can share that one with you.
Great.
Can you, is the video coming through?
Yes, no sound though.
No sound. Let me just turn the sound back up.
When you share, did you put the share button on, Anne-Marie?
Let me just double check.
Might be that. It's what I was telling you before. I always forget it.
So share.
Just that little tab at the top. Just says include computer sound, the very top.
Content, stand out. Share content, include computer sound. Brilliant, thank you.
It's such a tiny button.
Brilliant, thank you for that. Let me just pop back onto it then. Hopefully we should be okay. So here we go.
I'm going to show you how to make a sway. First you have to
Just can't see the video. Sorry, Anne-Marie. I'm not doing that.
No, that's okay. Don't worry.
But the sound was coming through. That's good.
Oh, well, that's good. Right, let's try again on that one. So if I share again.
I'm going to show you how to make a sway.
Okay.
You have to go on
No
sway.
video. I can see your screen where it's talks about play, where it's showing the file explorer, but I can't see the video coming through.
Try again.
I know, it'd be lovely to see it. I know it's a really nice clip. I watched it earlier.
And they really enjoy making them as well. The miniature experts, and to be fair, if they was here now, they'd probably get this video up and running quicker than me.
They always do, don't they?
Yep. Right, hopefully.
I'm going to show you how
is she on now?
A sway.
No, it's just that screen again. I wonder if
it's really strange.
It's obviously coming through on yours.
Yeah, I can see it perfectly. I'm just wondering how else I could video it.
If you press play, if you minimize the file explorer now, is it? I wonder if it's just it won't be behind it.
Let's have a look. Say share. That one. And then... Right. Done it a different way, so maybe hopefully this will work.
Oh, well done. That's it.
Oh, brilliant.
A sway. First you have to go on sway. Then you have to.
So I think it's important to say, so Sway's not actually got a app for iPads. So what the RIT technician did was created a link and then added it to the children's iPads. if you did it on a computer, then you'd have to log into your Microsoft account and go through it that way.
What do you need to add? What do you need to do next?
What they need to do is just click onto that app and then log in using the normal login. As you can see here, she's gone straight on to create new.
This is going to be your heading.
She is now just showing us how to create
what's one of your
a video about tigers. So she's using a work that we've been looking at in Topic and creating a presentation about endangered tigers and why they're endangered and all the information that she's learned about
that in that box. So that would be your heading. What would you write in this text?
So the different headings, so it was really nice when we looked at fact files, because obviously on Sway you use headings and text boxes. So the questions that they used as headings.
Fantastic. How would I add
and
pictures?
Then underneath the text,
so you show me how to do a heading and how to add text, but how do I add pictures?
And then they added pictures that correlated with what they was writing about. So this is where Raghead shows us where the pictures are.
And then what do you have to do? You clicked on it and pressed. Yep.
Add.
Lovely. Fantastic. So what if I wanted to add a picture to my heading?
And then she goes through and shows us the same thing again. And then closer to the end, after she's done some of her writing and added some information, she then moves on to showing us how she can check and see what it would look like afterwards. So this is how she presents it.
And you move it along and you can see all the different screens. So Raghead, would you be able to go back onto the Sway and show me one that you've made before?
The Sway.
So that was a quick demonstration. This is one that she's made previously, when she did
want to have a go on that one?
The one on tigers previously.
So what was yours about? Do you want to press play so we can see how you presented it? So this is your one. What's the questions on that then?
Tigers. What type of animal is it?
And then she goes through and shows us all the different questions and the information that's on it. And as you can see, she's really thought about how she presents it and is really proud of all the information that she's learned. If you would like to watch the video in full, as I said previously, the QR codes are there for you to have a look at and to watch at your leisure. They are really lovely to watch. I really enjoyed filming them and watching them back. Showcasing pupils' learning using Sway. So the children from this were able to showcase their understanding of animals and their habitats through the creation of Sway. So then what we did afterwards, we invited parents to come in and we had an expedition of all different parts of the world with different habitats. And as you can see, we shared with parents using QR codes at our parent event. So it was really something that was really visually stimulating for the children to be proud of. So I'm not sure if you can see, but you can see we've got sound buttons here where children have verbally recorded some of their facts. We've got some of those sways here that they could also have a look at. And each child got their books out with their sway codes in. So every child was able to show their parents their sways. These are just some that we've popped up here. And then this was one of our other parts of our displays that we did for Under the Sea. So we've been watching some Lifter video at the moment, looking at all the waste near the beach. There was a man called Rob and he made really beautiful art creations from what he found. So we did something similar from outside and created our own Under the Sea lives. And again, we've used the QR codes to show the sways with the fact files. And it was just great for the parents to come in. So some of my children are not still mark making, not able to form letters. So that the fact that they're able then to use technology to present their work in such a way is really professional, and parents' faces were lighting up to say, did my child actually do this? And they were able to sit next to them and say, yes, I can show you now. And they did. And it's brilliant to see that it was just breathtaking that, yes, they might not have the strength of writing using a pencil, but then that takes away that barrier. And it's just brilliant to see. And I think that moves me on to my next slide of how do we teach it? So I've made a link here to how to use Sway. It is just myself, so it's nothing exciting like the children's ones, but it's a quick basic guide of how to use Sway, and how it can support children. The way we taught Sway is we explicitly taught how to use Sway step by step in one of our topic lessons. So we've done this very gradually. So we started off just by using a picture and writing a sentence, and then over time we've then made it that we've now got whole presentations of children's work, which I will show you after as well. And we've used screenshots to provide the visual aids. So I made a flip chart of step-by-step guide of how to add a title, with arrows saying step 1, click here, then click add. And it was really time consuming to screenshot each section. I'm happy to share it if anybody wants it. It's not the best, but it is at year 1 level, but I'm sure you could take it away and change it and swap it. But all the features of how to use Sway is there, very child friendly. If anybody wanted to use it, I'm happy to pass that along. And the way we did it, first of all, was using whole class. So it was really nice to see that pupils were that became our Sway experts, supported their peers that required additional help. We then went off into smaller groups, so children that felt confident enough to be independent went off and did their own. The rest of the children that may needed to stay on the carpet, we talked through things as a group. But we don't do that anymore, only for the fact that every child is capable to use it independently now. But it was at the time a scaffold that the children needed. So whether you do it as whole class or as in groups, I think it depends on your own class and what works best for you. Once they know how to use it, the same with anything really, that they just fly with it. And I think what they can do now from when we first started is just incredible. It blows my mind to think that if somebody told me this time last year that my children would be doing this, or the fact that I would have to try and teach technology or use technology in my learning, I don't think I would have thought it'd be possible. So I think not only the children, but me myself have come a long way.
I think that's a really good point, Anne-Marie. I was just thinking about the parents when you mentioned how the parents came in to observe, to look at their children's work. And how many did you get? How many sort of parents came in? Was it a full class or just a few?
We did it for the whole year group, and there was 2 children. Parents couldn't make it because they was at work. Everybody came, and the parents that couldn't make it to the actual event stayed behind after school to see what the children have been doing. And it was lovely because the parents wanted to get involved as well. They wanted to know how to work these things. And I think maybe is the next step that we sort out parent guides of how to use these things, so that they can support their children at home. Because I think as a parent as well, the worst thing that can happen is if your child asks for help and you don't know how to do it.
Yes.
So I think sorry,
Anne-Marie. I was just going to say, do you normally get such a big parental turnout?
No.
I know obviously parents are busy, that they're at work. And is it usually that good?
I mean, we have done previously before COVID. We have done parents events that have not been as busy. We've sort of talking half a class parents come. I think because we opened it up so much and there was so much available. I mean, parents were having a go using VR headsets. They were working on sways with their children. It was just incredible to see. There is more pictures on the Mowmacre Twitter page as well, if anybody wanted to have a look back through to see some of the reactions of the parents. I wish I'd have added some into this now to show you. But no, it was really good. And I think that will be our next step, is to send maybe some guides home for parents. Because
I was just thinking, sorry, Anne-Marie, I'm interrupting again, but I was just thinking that's a really great piece of advice that you've just given there, though, about parental involvement. You know, what a great way to involve them and get them into the classroom, because I know that's something that I think all schools nationally do sometimes struggle with, and obviously for different reasons, and you know, they're all valid, but what a great turnout to have the whole class, all of the parents there. It's just
Absolutely.
yeah.
We know we discussed and sent letters home with parents that it would be technology based, and I was a bit apprehensive, thinking maybe this might turn some people away, because personally, from my own experience, I would have thought, oh my word, I won't have a clue what anyone's going on about. Really sorry, Joe.
That's all right.
But no, everybody loved it. It was a great.
I know I'm talking about that a lot, but I think it's quite interesting in terms of that. Did you do it, run it, I suppose, the whole afternoon, and sort of a bit like a lesson, sort of stop and start it and have your input as a teacher and then get people to have a go, or was it quite fluid?
It was quite fluid. Parents came in and out as they fancied. They took their time. I'm really sorry, Joe.
That's all right.
Yeah, so parents came into school, they stayed as long as they wanted to. They had the opportunity to go around all the different areas, because we had designated areas for different things. The classrooms were all open. We had another room that was just for VR headsets. And it was great because it was run by the children.
Yes.
For their parents. There was little involvement from us other than from the setup beforehand, and it was just incredible. The feeling afterwards, it was amazing.
And again, you're right, the children, but they felt as though they step up, don't they? They step up and become, I suppose, the role of the teacher in a way for their parents.
Absolutely, they did, and the pride and the faces, and it was just like priceless to see. And I think it meant so much to them, because I think sometimes they can go home and say, well, I've made a sway today, and they, you know, some parents might not understand what that means, or you know, really understand what they've done. So for them to be able to show them, explain to them and demonstrate, it's just amazing.
Yeah,
and it's really nice to share these such opportunities that don't always arise. And the VR headsets, for example, when we've looked at different habitats and we're showing the parents where we'd visited around the world, and they were blown away. And it was just such an experience that I wish I could have bottled.
I know. I bet it's one of those moments that you almost wanted to video as well. Actually, video the the parent engagement as well as the pupils. But just a nice, a really nice piece of, I think, information to share too on this today, on this webinar, because I think sometimes, as you know, as you just said, you've always struggled to try to encourage parents to come in, to look at pupils' work, to share the lesson with them. But yeah, it's a tricky one to get around, isn't it? But this could be a way forward.
Absolutely.
Who knows, maybe even parents that are at work, maybe be able to dial into Teams and take part that way. Just take 20 minutes out, even though, you know, they can't be there face to face. They could maybe dial in through Teams even.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. I mean, that is something we could look into, because my children as well are so tech savvy, especially when it comes to Teams as well. They're quite happy to use Teams to log in. They can call on there, so maybe even if they use their own device to call their parents in, even that in itself is such a novelty that would not normally happen.
Yeah.
And it would take the pressure off parents as well, of feeling that they can't be there for whatever reason, like you said before. And I just think that'd be a lovely experience. So maybe that is something that we look into as well for the future.
Yes, because they could just have 10 minutes, couldn't they? And just that 10 minutes would mean the world to the child.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, as a parent myself, you know, there has been times where I'm unable to go to my children's events, you know, because one thing or another. So if I had that opportunity, I know it would mean as much to me as it would my children.
Yes.
So it's lovely to see it from both perspectives. So yeah, I really I think technology is the way forward. I think the way that it's advancing, even by the term, not even by the year, it's come such a long way. And I think by the time that my year ones are year six, that we're going to set them up for life with a tool that they will always need. We're always saying it, that the future jobs have not been created yet. And I think we're providing the toolkit to ensure that happens, that they've got the foundations to enter that world.
That's it. They'll be prepared, won't they, for not just secondary now, but they'll be life ready as well, won't they, with these skills? Because it's going to be such a way of life for them, the digital technology moving forward. But I think what you've shown us there is absolutely brilliant, Anne-Marie. Thank you, because it's so nice to see it as well from, as we say, a year one perspective, because I think sometimes, you know, people think, oh, they're too young, can't do that, you know, we can't approach that, it'd be just too much.
I was that person.
But look at you now, I mean, complete 360, and and that's what I mean. What a great that you presented this evening as well, because you're such a strong advocate for it now as well, which is nice to hear. So thank you so much. And as we said at the start, if you obviously do want to speak to Anne-Marie has popped her email address there, as well as a Twitter feed. So please feel free to contact her and speak to her further about the things that she's doing in a classroom, because they are really amazing. I've been in a few times now and I've had the pleasure of going around and speaking to the children and observing what they're doing, and they are very confident with the devices, and so tech savvy, aren't they, Anne-Marie? Really quick to pick it up. Yes.
And I welcome anyone that wants to come into the classroom as well. If they want to come and observe themselves, the door's always open. The children are always excited to show what they can do. So if you have the opportunity to be able to come out, then we're more than welcome to host.
That's brilliant. Thank you for that offer as well. The only thing, just to go back, I was just going to say about the child account. If you are watching this webinar and you haven't used Tapestry before that much, or you haven't seen the Microsoft Education Centre, that's now the Learn Education Centre, they're two places that are worth going to, just in case you do need a bit of support and help. If I just share quickly, I'm able to just my screen very quickly, just show you. Here we go. These this site here. So the Learn Educator Centre is a place to go, just so that you can access courses. But I was just going to just point you in the direction of the Sway course, which I opened up earlier, which I think is still on here. Just hope it is. It's just there. So that's the digital storytelling with Microsoft Sway is worth doing. It's fairly quick course, not too long, and there's a quick quiz at the end. But as you can see there, it talks about blended learning lessons and just how to start with Sway as well, really. So you can either speak to Anne-Marie, or you can just go onto the MEC and have a look at it there as well. And then if you've got any questions, please feel free to contact myself or Anne-Marie, as we've said. And then just again, if you're not sure about Tapestry, this is a subscribed site, so you do have to pay for it, but there's great support with Tapestry. I'll just show you the YouTube site there as well. They've got some great video clips, some great CPD as well that you can access. So if you don't know where to start with it, this is great. And they've got a great encyclopedia as well that they've made. So lots of resources. And as well, when you go to the start page there, you'll see it takes you to their website. They've got their Twitter feed, the Facebook link, Instagram. So they're kind of everywhere. And they've got, as I say, lots of information and advice for you. They're really willing to support you. And there's the child login button there that you can use. Or as Anne-Marie said, and I think I definitely recommend this as well, use a QR code, and the children will be able to access that really easily. But any other tips there, Anne-Marie, that you would give to anybody starting out?
Just have a go. As I say, it can't be broken, and if it is, then it's not broken, it's just needs fixing.
Yeah.
I think it's just about having that confidence just to trial and error. You just have a go. The difference that it will make is amazing. What you will see, it's transforming. I think my classroom is a completely different classroom. These children are the first children I've used this with, and I'll never look back. And I think if you just have a go and try and see what happens. Just as you said, I used the mech sensors. So when I did sway, that was the first thing I did, was to have a look at that, and it was brilliant. Really step-by-step guides. That was great. Really clear. And then I just had a go at sway, just played around with it, and just seeing what it's all about, really. And yeah, and here we are. I just think it is all about trial and error.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well, just to remind people, obviously Anne-Marie also said that she would share her resources with you too. So if you do want to you know, have those how-to resources for the class, please again contact her. But thank you for watching, and we hope it was helpful. And the next webinar, I think, is next week, next Tuesday. We've had to change a few around, so we'll be back again next Tuesday, and I think that is with Key Stage 2. So I look forward to seeing you then.